there is not one team in the Women's World Cup that could beat a junior male side in the A-League.
How dare you?
The women got a pool, or got paid out from a pool of $30 million from the Women's World Cup. The men would draw from a pool of $400 million, okay? $400 million, $30 million. Why is that? It's because the Men's World Cup generates $6 billion in revenue. The Women's World Cup generates $131 million in revenue. If you want to talk about pay disparity, the Women's World Cup players get paid out 20% of the total revenue. The men get paid out 7%. As a percentage point, they are getting much more. The problem is, for anybody desiring equal pay, and by the way, I think equal pay is a ridiculous concept in and of itself. If the women generate more revenue, they should get paid more than the men. Don't strive for getting the same, strive for getting what you're worth. And if you're worth more, then get more.
This message is for Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney. One, you should be here right now with your squad. Two, your team about to go down in North Carolina. Let's go! Let's go! USA! USA!
And you got to be careful. There's a shot. Nice spin move here by Lloyd. Lloyd! Another shot and another
look for the players running off of him. It's a big ask, but
well, they're bit with the left.
Yeah, so far so good in this game.
So
Trundle. Murkoff trying to move around, and that's going to be a Murkoff takes that shot
and swinging to make that perfect contact.
And that Jarvis, there it is. Game over. 12-0. Wrexham defeats the U.S. women.
Yeah, they got absolutely smoked. But I want to clear one thing up. A lot of people are trying to say it was the women's active national team, which isn't true. It was like made up from former players who made the national team. So it was still some of the best female players of all time versus basically Wrexham FC, which if you look at the English Football League, they're a low-level team. You've got the Premier League, Championship, League 1 and League 2. So that's a Tier 4 level that Wrexham compete in. So these are just average players in terms of men's football versus, oh yeah, and they was also retired, versus some of the best women's football players of all time who are also retired. And then I found this article which was hilarious, trying to say, oh, it's been debunked. The US women's soccer team did not lose 12-0 to a team of Wrexham veterans. Well, they did, because the average age of this team was about 35, I think, and the average age of the women's team was also about 35 or 36. It's like comparing Germany from 2014 when they won the World Cup. Imagine they put the team back together right now and they went and competed with a low-level women's team from America. Do you really think they're going to lose 12-0 to that women's team?
Fuck no, baby!
Anyway, this article went on to say, while a Facebook page called the Anti-Feminist Warriors said the results showed this is why it's not okay to put men disguised as women versus women in competition.
The Australian women's national team, who were ranked number 5 in the world at the time,
yeah.
lost 7-0 to a team of 15-year-old boys.
Awkward.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
You know, the funniest thing is, you would think that that was a low-level league, but no, that was actually the Women's World Cup highlights. And that's probably why more people watch men's football, so that's why they get paid more. You can't just demand to get paid more than what you're worth.
We've got quite a large pay dispute happening with our Australian women's soccer team at the moment. Is it frustrating for you as someone who's so prominent in your sport? And we heard you say on the Ellen show the other day you are the richest fighter in UFC, that sort of thing is still going on?
I think that how much you get paid should have something to do with how much money you bring in. I'm the highest paid fighter, not because Dana and Lorenzo wanted to do something nice for the ladies. They do it because I bring in the highest numbers. They do it because I make them the most money. And I think that the money that they make should be proportionate to the money that they bring in.
Women's sports are highly competitive, often can compete with men at the same level and win.
What sports?
like a woman playing against a man tennis player.
Are you delusional? Do you suffer from a mental illness?
You know what's really funny about this is the actual women who play tennis, they're against this. They do not want to compete against the men because they know they're not delusional. They know the actual difference between playing men and women. So you've got all these people on the outside trying to say, yeah, men can compete with women, but the people actually in the sports, they know the truth. So why don't men compete with women? Well, let's find out.
Take no prisoners out here.
You're goddamn right.
Men's tennis and women's tennis are completely almost two separate sports. So I'm like, if I were to play Andy Murray, I would lose 6-0, 6-0 in 5 to 6 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, because no, it's true. It's true. Honestly, it's a completely different sport. The men are a lot faster, and they serve harder, they hit hard. It's just a different game, and I love to play women's tennis, and I only want to play girls because I don't want to be embarrassed. I would not do the tour.
Have Serena Williams, the best female tennis player of all time, who actually understands the game of tennis. She knows the game. She's been playing it her whole life. She knows she cannot compete with men, and she doesn't want to compete with men. And why would she? Why should she have to compete on an unfair playing field? I mean, if you had a daughter, you wouldn't want your daughter growing up and being forced to compete against men, would you? No, you're going to want to protect your daughter and let her compete against other women where it's actually a fair game. So they're trying to push this whole agenda, and they're trying to say, oh yeah, men and women are equal, and then we can let biological men enter women's sports. Like, no, it doesn't make sense.
This transgender fighter humiliated her opponent by breaking her skull. In a video from 2013, we can see a fight between Fallon Fox and Erica Newsom. Both the fighters engaged in a stand-up exchange in the fight, with both fighters throwing punches. Fox managed to throw Newsom to the ground, but Newsom was quick to get back up. Later, Fox delivered a forceful knee strike to Newsom's chin, causing her to lose consciousness and fall face first onto the mat. It was revealed that Fox was actually transgender, and she was a guy when she was born, but over the course of 6 years, with the help of hormone medication and sex reassignment surgery, she had transformed into a woman. Many male and female fighters, coaches, and promoters criticized Fox, claiming that it was unfair and extremely risky for a man to face a woman in the ring, as she gets an unfair advantage over her opponents. What do you think about this incident? Let us know in the comments below.
Fallon Fox is the name, apparently. Shout out to Jay, you commented this on my other video. Fallon Fox, yeah. But on a serious note, if they really want to compete and they're too scared to compete against men, then they should have their own league where they fight each other. Don't go into the women's league.
This is what happens whenever you ask a transgender activist to explain even the basic premise of the movement, is they'll immediately say, well, who cares? Why are you so obsessed with this? I'm not obsessed with this. I'm not the one who started sending men into the women's bathroom and taking away their trophies and castrating kids. I'm perfectly happy with the way things have worked for thousands of years. It is the transgender activists who are trying to upend everything. And so I think it is at least my right to ask the question, okay, what is the premise of your movement? But they always deflect from that. They always withdraw from the debate. They always try to change the subject because there is no answer. So you ask me, well, what's the purpose of, why do you even care? What's the purpose of knowing someone's biological sex? Well, for starters, because we have civil rights specifically for women in the United States. We have special bathrooms for women. We have special sports leagues for women. We have all sorts of special places and rights and privileges and that are for women that are not for men. So if now some men, people who at the very least appear to be men, are claiming a right to go into those women's bathrooms, then we either have to abolish all of the special rights and privileges that have existed for women for all of human history and are enshrined in our law, or they need to explain to me how those men are actually women. And they can't do the latter, and I'm not willing to do the former, and I don't think women across this country are willing to do the former, even if a few people have been so ideologically blinded that they would give into this kind of an absurdity.
There was some fucking knucklehead that was getting interviewed. They said, if Mike Tyson identified as a woman, should he be able to fight women? And they were like, well, the short answer is yes.
Lord. Should Mike Tyson, if he identifies as a female, should he be allowed to box?
The short answer is yes.
After 20 fights, I was undefeated. Only one fighter stood between me and the belt.
You got this chick, she's nothing.
I can define womanhood for you, which is a set of characteristics associated with females, and a woman as someone who exhibits said womanhood.
Okay, well, you have just used the word female and woman to define each other. So you say a woman is a female, but not a biological female. A female is a woman and a woman is a female, but at no point have you added any new content.
No, I said a woman is someone who exhibits womanhood, and womanhood is a set of characteristics.
Yes, and that doesn't mean anything.
How does it not mean
the reason
anything?
it doesn't mean, okay, again, a dog is a thing that exhibits the characteristics of doghood. It's a set of characteristics characterized by being a dog. I've added no content to that. If you have no idea what a dog is, you still have no idea what a dog is.
There are plenty of labels that refer to concepts. This is not a new thing.
It's not a label referring to a concept. It's a label that's referring to the same word as the concept. You can't do that. That's fundamentally circular.
To the same word. I'm saying that womanhood.
You have not defined even womanhood. You said a set of characteristics that applies to females, and then you're applying it to males. So clearly this is nonsensical.
This doesn't work for anything else on the planet, but for some reason they think that definition is acceptable. Well, it's not. For example, this potato has the characteristics of a potato. Alright, yeah, but define what a potato is. You can't just say, well, potatohood is a set of characteristics associated with potatoes, and a potato is someone who exhibits said potatohood. See how dumb that sounds? Doesn't make any sense.
Sit down. Listen. You gotta get lively now, Leon. You're too down. Come on, they're letting him control you too much, son. You gotta get your hands going, Leon. You gotta get your hands going. Come on, listen. Stop feeling sorry for you. Well, come on then. What's wrong with you? You're too down. You gotta pull the out of fire. Come on, Leon, man. You got it, man. Come on. You got this. Sharpshooter. Come on, Leon. Let's go. Do it again.